Unit 2, Lesson 1, The Biological Sex. Learning Outcomes. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to be able to do the following. Describe the beginning of the biological sex during the time of fertilization. Explain the process of sexual development that occurs during the prenatal stage and during puberty stage. And discuss abnormalities that can occur in the sexual development. What is biological sex? Biological sex refers to status as a female and male or intersex depending on their chromosomes, reproductive organs, and other characteristics. What is chromosomes? Chromosome is a thread-like structure of nucleic acid and protein found in the nucleus of most living cells, carrying genetic information in the form of genes. Chromosomes also contain proteins that help DNA exist in the proper form. Humans typically have 23 pairs of chromosomes or 46 chromosomes in total. The beginning of our biological sex. Our biological sex begins with the sex chromosomes that we inherit from our parents during the time of fertilization, that is the fusion of sex cells of our parents. These sex chromosomes are so called because they genetically program the organism to develop either along a female or male line. The mother's egg cells typically carry an X chromosomes, while the father's sperm cells are split into two half have X chromosomes, while the other half has Y chromosomes. If the sperm with an X chromosomes fertilizes the egg cell first, then the resulting XX pair of chromosomes produce a girl. If the one with a Y chromosome successfully unites with the egg cell, then the XY pair produces a boy. Chromosomes model. As we have observed in the illustration, female carries XX chromosomes in the egg cell while male carries X and Y chromosomes in sperm cells. When the Y chromosomes of male develop to X chromosomes of a female, so the result is X and Y, means it produce or develop a baby boy. On the other hand, when the X chromosomes of the male is active, which intersects the X chromosome of a female, the result is X and X, means it develop a baby girl. In addition, male genetically carries X and Y chromosomes, while female genetically carries XX chromosomes. Noted that, though the X and Y chromosomes are not named after their shape, but to indicate the difference in their appearance, X chromosomes are bigger than Y chromosomes, where the individual belongs in the feminine and masculine categories. One may identify who label themselves as genderqueer, gender variant, or gender fluid. Genderqueer is a non-binary, is an umbrella term of identities that are not solely male or female, while gender variant is a gender that does not match masculine or feminine. On the other hand, gender fluid, it is the multi-gender identity. So, before I proceed, take note of the following differences between the sex and gender. What is sex and what is gender? Sex is the characteristic that are biologically defined, either the male or female, whereas gender defined is based on socially constructed features that recognize variation either bisexual, homosexual, or heterosexual. So, now you know what's the difference among the two. Sexual orientation refers to the direction of one's sexual and romantic interest, according to Ramos 2014 cited. Categories used to describe sexual orientation are heterosexual, homosexual, or bisexual. Let us now categorize and describe the three sexual orientations. Heterosexual is we are attracted to people of opposite sex, while homosexual we are sexually attracted to people one's own sex, while bisexual is an attraction to more than one gender, or we call as our term as double blade. The society at large tends to also see human beings simply as men or women called mawawa. Mawawa defines as an abbreviation used for men are men and women are women. Assumption referred by Pili 2014 cited. It is simplistic and heuristic reference to what makes a man be a man and woman based on age-old traditions and perspective of these two genders. This kind of thinking that views sex or gender as based on core or innate differences pervades most of society. This assumption overemphasizes the role of nature and explains the differences between male and female mainly from these perspectives. The duplication in the reproductive ducts of male and female embryos soon changes in the third months. The male's newly developed testes begin to secrete two hormones, the testosterone and multimilarian hormone. Testosterone is the most common type of androgen hormone, stimulates the development of the Wolffian system. Anti-Mullerian hormone inhibits the development of the Mullerian system. In addition, EMH plays a key role in developing the baby sex organ in the womb. EHM or anti-Mullerian hormone is higher level in male babies, while female babies only need a small amount of anti-Mullerian hormone for their development. This illustration is the cycle of Mullerian ducts. Mullerian ducts has left and right ducts, the Wolffian ducts and bipotential gonads, and the lower part is a cloaca, which undergoes the masculination and femination. In the other side, which masculination develop into Mullerian ducts degrade, while femination develops Wolffian ducts degrade. After that, Wolffian ducts becomes epididymis and ducts vas deferens, while Mullerian ducts becoming uterine tubes or uterine. Down to testes, urinary bladder or urethra, while Mullerian ducts down to ovaries, urinary bladder, urethra, uterus, and vagina. External organ is an organ that is situated on or near the surface of the body. It includes external ear, outer ear, so on and so forth. At 6 weeks after fertilization, the external reproductive organs for both males and females begin to differentiate from initially the same four parts: the glands, the urethral folds, the lateral bodies, and the labiostrucal swellings, according to Pinel 2014. Glands is the organ makes one or more substances such as hormones, digestive juices, sweat, tears, and saliva, while urethral fold is an embryological structure which gives rise to the portion of the external genitalia. The glans develops into a head of the penis in the male of clitoris in the female. The urethral folds fuse in the male while become enlarged of the labia minor in the female. The lateral bodies from shaft of the penis in the male or the blood of clitoris in the female, and the labioscrotal swellings from the scrotum in the male or on labia major in the female. Puberty stage. It is a time in life when a boy or girl becomes sexually mature. It is a process that usually happens between ages 10 and 14 for girls and ages 12 and 16 for boys. It causes physical changes and affects boys and girls differently. In girls, the first sign of puberty is usually breast development. As children transition into adulthood, they pass the puberty stage that is characterized by the adolescent growth spurt. Maturity is the external genitalia and the development of secondary sex characteristics. Secondary sex characteristics are those physical changes that distinguish sexual maturity in women and in men. The changes that occur during puberty are mainly caused by increased production of hormones. The anterior pituitary releases high levels of growth hormone that acts directly the bones and muscles tissues, resulting in growth spurt, according to Pinel 2014. The hypothalamus releases the anterior pituitary releases the gonadotropin releasing hormone or GnRH that stimulates the anterior pituitary gland to release two gonadotropic hormones, follicle stimulating hormone or FSH and luteinizing hormone or LH, according to Preverge 2010 cited. Both hormones are present in males and females. They stimulate the ovaries to produce different effects. In males, FSH and LH cause the testes to release testosterone, while in female, they stimulate the ovaries to produce estradiol, most common type of estrogen. Let us clarify more that only man excrete androgen and woman excrete estrogen. On the other hand, let us give the clarification about hypothalamus, gonadotropin hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormone. Hypothalamus is the structure of the brain, acts as your body's smart coordinating center, regulates sleep, alertness, wakefulness, body temperature, hunger, fatigue, and metabolic process in general. Gonadotropin causes the pituitary gland in the brain to make and secrete the hormones. Follicle stimulating hormone or FSH for women helps to control the menstrual cycle and stimulates the growth of the egg in the ovaries. Luteinizing hormone for women, it helps control the menstrual cycle. These hormones are very necessary for the functioning of hypothalamus.
Abnormalities in sexual development is the process by which the gonads, the internal and the external organs, develop to produce an unambiguous male or female. So, through the gonads that came from our internal and external organs, it is clearly to produce a male and female. And there are certain conditions in which sex characteristics, including chromosomes, sex hormones, external and internal reproductive organs. So, take note about the sex characteristics. So, chromosomes, it is contain a thread-like structure of nucleic acids and protein. And the sex hormones are the chemical substance produced by sex organs. And the last one are external and internal reproductive organs. So, external, it is genital structures include the mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, and clitoris. And the internal for women reproductive system includes the ovaries, the fallopian tubes, and the uterus. And for men are the prostate and testes and the penis. And do not fit with typical male or female biological makeup. Among the intersex conditions described below by Freebird's 2010 and Pinel 2014 are androgen insensitivity syndrome o ICE, androgenital syndrome, 5-alpha reductase deficiency. So the intersex condition, it will be discussed on the next slides. Androgen insensitivity syndrome. Take note. So the androgen insensitivity syndrome is a genetic condition which affects a child's sexual development before birth and during puberty. So individuals with eyes have an XY genotype but develop a female appearance. It means that the XY genotype, instead of developing a male appearance, but what develops is a female appearance. In male embryos, their testes produce androgens and anti-Mullerian hormones. So, what is the two kind produced by the testes? So, androgens, it is crucial for male sexual and reproductive function. And the anti-Mullerian hormone is a key role in developing a baby's sex organs while in the womb. In case of eyes, there is mutation in the androgen receptors such that they become unresponsive or it is no androgen are released. It means any change in the DNA sequence of a cell that allows the body to respond appropriately to this hormone, but it turned to unresponsive or there no androgens are released. This non-reactivity to androgen prevents the development of the Wolffian system, which is the antecedent of the male internal organ. So, it means non-reactivity to androgen to prevent the development of pair embryonic structures that serve as progenitors of male internal genitalia and are involvement in the early development of both sexes renal condition to the male internal organs. Adrenogenital syndrome. Adrenogenital syndrome is due to congenital adrenal hyperplasia, a heritable condition in which there is increased level of androgens. So, congenital adrenal hyperplasia, it is a group of genetic orders that affect the adrenal glands. Females born with CA who have higher than typical amount of androgens circulating in their system develop ambiguous external genitalia such as a enlarged clitoris and fused labia, and in some cases, no vaginal opening. It means that the female who is born with congenital adrenal hyperplasia has a higher amount of androgen circulating in her system and develops a condition in which the infant's external genitals so that the clitoris and fused labia enlarge so that in some cases there's no vaginal opening. 5-alpha reduces deficiency. Individuals born with this condition have deficient enzyme known as 5-alpha dehydrotestosterone. 5-alpha dehydrotestosterone is responsible for the masculinization of the external organs of fetus. Those with this condition have ambiguous external genitals and are commonly raised as a girl. So speaking of enzyme and 5-alpha dehydrotestosterone, the meaning of enzyme is a protein that act as biological catalyst, and then the 5-alpha dehydrotestosterone is essential for the development of the male sex characteristics before birth, particularly the formation of the external genitalia. The case of John and Joanne. Bruce was born a biological male whose penis was irreparably damaged during circumcision. Upon the advice of an expert, John Money, Bruce's parents, decided to raise him as a girl. Bruce underwent a surgery in which an artificial vagina was created. He also given female hormones during puberty. After the assignment, Bruce was given the name Brenda. Since infancy, Bruce and Brenda, together with his twin brother Brian, regularly came to visit Manny and were unknowingly the subject of Manny's experiments, Brenda describing her girlish. Bruce debunked these claims as an adult and recounted the trauma and anguish he suffered while growing up. He reported that even as a child, he experienced great distress over his assigned sex. Now known today as girl dysphoria, although he grew up programmed as a girl including engaging in girls' activities and interest and was subjected to estrogen regimen by age 12. He had never identified himself as a girl. In fact, he resented the changes that happened in his body, like the development of his breast. At 13, threatened to commit suicide, and his parents would force him to go money for annual visit. At 15, his father revealed to him his medical history. Immediately afterward, he assumed male identity, renamed himself as David. He then began male hormone therapy and went to surgery for the removal of his breast, and the construction of a penis. Presented to Proof Demi Civilia, presented by Jan M. Mejio and Ivan de los Santos. Thank you for listening our discussion. Until the next time.